Welcome into week 6 of the Ragsdale Rumble. I am your host, Big Mike, and I am joined as always by Herb and Raj. Introducing first Raj, who is still in the lead overall, record of 32-22, 10 games over 500. How you doing today, Raj?
I'm doing fantastically splendid on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Unfortunately, well, yeah. Let me start off. I'm happy. I'm happy. Alabama won 40-17 yesterday. Looked pretty good yesterday against Mississippi State. Little bit of a rough start. But we finished pretty strong. Yeah. Slow start, rough start, but we finished pretty well, so that's all that matters at the end of the day. Unfortunately, Sunday, my Miami Dolphins took a big hit. We lost 48-20 to our rivals, the Buffalo Bills. So it was a division loss and a loss overall. But we're still second in the division. We'll be fine. It's still early in the season. But Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Kind of the same way. I'm both a Bama fan and a Dolphins fan, just like you are. Mm-hmm. So kind of both ways on our teams, winning and losing, but it's still early in the season, still a long way to go. We still play Buffalo at least one more time if we don't get in the playoffs. So long season to go. So just feeling really good. Also joined by Herb, who second place hurts, whose overall record is 30-24, but for 2 weeks in a row has gained a game. So it was dead even after last Friday, as we saw on Twitter. Going into Saturday, it was Florida, Kentucky that was the end all be all. Kentucky ended up winning, which Herb picked, so he did gain a game. He's only 2 games behind now, going into week 6. So whatever you're
I'm still mad at NC State.
I knew Kentucky was going to win the game, but I picked Florida so that Herb can kind of gain some competitive. I'm helping
whatever you got to tell yourself. I'm still mad at NC State because I fell asleep Friday night with them up 10-0 at halftime. And I wake up and there's a text from Raj saying, "Did I pick Louisville?" I was like, "You don't even know what you've done." And I'm so mad.
You shouldn't have fell asleep. Moral of the story.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess I was the only thing holding on from. They didn't score a single point at home for the whole second half. Like, they deserve to lose that game.
But to finish out the introductions, Herb, how are you doing today? I know we kind of skipped over with everything else.
I mean, football season means it's all week to week, right? Like, my team won yesterday, of course, and then actually the Titans and Eagles both won games this week. If you had told me one was going to have to squeak one out and one was going to win dominantly, I would not have picked the Titans dominant and the Eagles squeak one out. But that's fine. It's all good. Let's get to it.
Yeah, you definitely don't expect Sam Howell to have a last drive to score a touchdown to tie the game. But you never know. It's the NFL. So we aren't picking the NFL today, though. We are into college picks, week 6. We will jump right in. First up is Nebraska and Illinois. Illinois is currently favored by only 3, so it's a fairly close line. Herb, as being behind, you will go first.
Golly. This is like I don't want to pick anyone kind of game.
Yeah. You said Illinois is favored by 3?
Yes.
That's interesting. You know what? I'm going Nebraska on the road. I'll probably regret. First off, let's go ahead and say we'll not be watching one single moment of this game.
Right.
If it happens to be the only game on and all the other games at halftime, I will take a 10-minute nap and wait for all the other games to come on. But I just feel like,
if I remember right, this one is the Friday game too, so it may actually be the only game on. There are actually games Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. I do believe this was the Friday game because the Wednesday and Thursday games weren't that good. But now that I say that,
who plays Wednesday?
Jacksonville State, and Middle Tennessee, FIU, and New Mexico State play Wednesday.
I would rather watch all of those games.
Well, and you can because they're on Wednesday, and it's not the same time.
I know.
I'm saying I'd rather watch all of those games versus Nebraska, Illinois.
And they're all on ESPN, the Ocho.
Yes. But yeah,
Illinois has at least shown a pulse on offense this year. Nebraska's just been worse and worse like every week. Oh.
Do you still want to go Nebraska?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nebraska. I'm going to go with the bigger name.
All right, we got Nebraska first off. Rod, what do you think?
You guys know what's coming.
Oh, I know what's coming.
You guys know what's coming.
This isn't even an anti-her pick. This is just probably picking the better team.
You know what's funny you said that? Because that's kind of what I felt like. I was like, you know what? You're right. And I'm going to say, I'm not even going to use this as my anti-her pick. This is just, I'm not even enthusiastic about this pick. I'm just picking I'm simply picking Illinois because they're at home, but this doesn't look exciting to me. It looks like Illinois' quarterback has let me see, he's 5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, but he's thrown for over 1,000 yards.
Right.
Nebraska just hasn't.
Those again when you read the stats.
He's thrown for over 1,000 yards. He's thrown for over 1,000 yards. He's 5 touchdowns with 7 interceptions. Illinois is 2-3. They're at home. Nebraska. Let's be honest. Nebraska hasn't been relevant since.
90.
When was the last time they were actually relevant? I honestly don't know.
I'm gonna go with 90s. Like
the 90s, probably, yeah.
Before I was born.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't want to use my anti-her pick, but I am going to pick Illinois because they're at home.
Yeah.
All right. So start off good with a disagreement between the brothers. So there we go. Next up, we do jump into Saturday games, and look, there's not a ton of great games. There's a couple of really good games that we're going to go through. Very few, but there's not a lot of great games. So there's going to be a few of these games this week, just to be completely honest, that aren't great games, but they are close lines. So, one of those weeks where it's not very intriguing other than, 2 or 3 pretty big games. One of those that should be a good game, you have LSU at Missouri. On Saturday morning, LSU is favored by 6.5. Raj, you were up first.
This is somewhat prior to the season. I thought this would be a blowout. LSU. Yep. Answer the question. I'm still going to pick LSU to cover. But based on what LSU did yesterday by giving up 55 to Ole Miss, a team we only gave up 10 points to. Missouri's undefeated. I think their biggest win was, I believe it was Kansas State when they beat Kansas State in week 3.
And Vandy and Memphis.
Yeah.
South Dakota, Middle Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. LSU's played better competition. LSU's offense hasn't. I think he's
There's the only one reason why I would ever know anything outside of the K-State game, and that's because
I think LSU has a better offense and defense in this game, and I'm going to pick LSU to cover on the road.
Yeah. No, I think Rogers hit on the nail on the head. Missouri has to have the worst schedule of any undefeated team right now, outside of the K-State win.
But if you look at Missouri's schedule after, then they really start a lot of conference play games. It's just like they're going to lose
going
down
down
games.
Yeah. There's a reason why LSU is still favored. The line would be more, I think, if LSU had won yesterday. Yeah. It's also interesting. LSU's lost 2 games this year, and Missouri hasn't lost any, and you're like the number 23 and number 20 ranked teams. So I'm going with LSU on the road.
Now, if Missouri wins, they are going to storm the field.
Oh yeah, I would too. Yeah. I'd already get it ready. Yeah, but yesterday LSU took an L, but this game they bounced back.
Oh gosh, that song is like 10 years old.
Moving
we're gonna count it like it just came out.
Is that a lyric? Or are you just saying that?
I'm just saying that.
Oh, okay.
Remix.
Somebody just woke up from a nap.
Yeah. We're actually going to move on to a very similar style game. You have Maryland and Ohio State. Maryland, one of those undefeated teams who hasn't played a real tough schedule. Ohio State coming in favored 18. The game is in Ohio. Who do you have and why?
Ohio State takes this one. Maryland's like one of those clearly second tier, of the – are they still in the Big Ten? Yeah, in the Big Ten. Tua's little brother will make them exciting at times on offense, but they're never going to, break through, especially with the way the Big Ten is changing. They're never going to break through that top tier. Ohio State rolls in this one. Offense still coming around, but I think defense is playing well enough to stifle them, and they'll score just enough points to win. So I could see them not covering because of that reason, but Ohio State wins this game.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I picked it with Talia. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Raj. No, you're good. Just with Talia playing as well as he is, their offense has been really good. Ohio State's gotten a lot of slow starts, kind of the same way Georgia and Auburn was last week. I can see it being a similar game to that. But not my analysis isn't why you're here. So, Raj, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I'm going with Ohio State too. They got the better offense, better defense, and Ohio State was off yesterday, correct? And so they're going to be, or did they play? I think they were off yesterday.
I don't know if they were off, but they didn't play.
They're coming off their bye week. They're going to be well rested. Like Herb said, Maryland is kind of like, I look at Maryland kind of like Kentucky. I'm like, they'll win a few games in the season, but they're going to lose all the games that they're supposed to lose throughout the season. This being one of them. I did, and for the past 2 years, I have watched some of Maryland's games simply to watch Talia play. He's not a bad quarterback. I wish he had a little more size on him. I'm hoping that he ends up getting drafted later, whenever that is. If he's coming out this year, then it'll be like, 5th, 6th, 7th round pick. Good
you
for
can
him.
tell a person isn't really good if Raj doesn't say he wants the Dolphins to draft him.
I don't want the Dolphins to draft Talia. Yeah, that would just be really weird.
That's the
I want
Miami
Miami to somehow magically get Brock Bowers. That's who I want Miami to get. We have one first round pick. I don't think he'll slip to I think we're in the 20s if I had to guess, but I don't think he's gonna slip that far. So anyway, Ohio State. We both pick Ohio State to cover.
Yep. Next up, we travel out to the Pac-12, which another kind of curious game. You've got Washington State, who's undefeated at 4-0, going up against UCLA at 3-1. Although UCLA is favored in this game at home by 3 points. Roger, up first. Who do you have and why?
I'm going to go with Washington State in this game.
Yeah.
I really, really like Washington State's quarterback. I tried to pull up his name. I forgot his name, but his numbers look really, really impressive for the first 4 games. And I think Washington State's going to really, really pull this game out. I'm going to go Washington State in this one.
Yeah, I really thought you would go with UCLA because you took him at home against Utah.
Yeah,
I would get to do my anti-Herb pick, but I agree with him. I think Washington State's playing well. Surprised to me that UCLA is even ranked, but favored. But I'm going to give that to them being at home. But no, I think Washington State is playing much better. Kind of one of those under the radar teams in the Pac-12 right now. I'm giving it to them on the road.
Yep.
All right, both people going with Washington State, which is kind of surprising. A couple surprising things. One, the QB is Cameron Ward for Washington State. He has played pretty good this season. Another surprising thing that you guys agreed on it and that we went through that entire segment without anyone saying UCLA. So a couple of surprises there in that whole segment. I kind of figured I was laying it up for you there. Nobody took it.
Rod is going to lose all his.
I usually am the UCLA guy, but I just didn't say it this time. That means next week.
Are you feeling okay, Raj? Are you good?
I am. If UCLA is one of the teams next week, we're going to say it like twice as much.
Definitely. Even if they're on a bye.
Yeah.
So I may have them as UCLA versus the bye next week just for
exactly.
you.
We can do it. We'll take the bye. Yeah.
Going across the country to North Carolina, Syracuse coming off a big loss from Clemson coming into North Carolina. Carolina is currently favored by 9.5 points. Herb, you are up first. Who do you have in line?
Still going North Carolina on this one. It's kind of like I said, I didn't expect Syracuse to really give Clemson much of a shot last week. That's just how Syracuse plays. I think Dino Baber is probably going to end up getting fired this year. North Carolina, I think it's, I keep saying this. This is one reason why I picked NC State. So maybe this will fall flat, but I think they have, they see, look, Clemson has slid down. They've already lost 2 conference games. Yeah. We have to take care of games like this to have a chance at the ACC championship. Even if we fall against one of the big guys, we've got a great shot here. So I'm going NC State big at home.
You mean UNC?
UNC at home.
Sure,
I will never take NC State at home again, those jerks.
I'm also going to pick Unk to win this game as well. I think they have the better
You think you're trying to rebound from UCLA by using Unk? Like, you thought we were going to catch that?
You got me. I'm picking Unk to win this game. I think they have the better quarterback play.
So terrible.
Not too familiar with UNC's defense, but I don't know. Syracuse is going to be 4-2 after this game. I got UNC to cover.
All right, both competitors picking UNC there. We are going to move back over really cross country again to Colorado going into Arizona State. Tough loss for Colorado. Really pulled it out towards the end. Almost came back on USC. Came up just a little short. I love the way they played. Love the way they fight. They are going into Arizona State, and they are only favored by 5.5, which just kind of tells you, I think, some of the power in the Pac-12, kind of how everybody's kind of equal. Roger, up first. Who do you have in line?
I got to go with Colorado. I like what I saw out of their fight yesterday, especially in the second half. I don't remember what the halftime score was, but they were down by a lot at one point. I watched the game, started watching
34-14, I believe.
34-14, and I think I may have turned off that game to watch something else because it just got out of hand. When I turned back on, they were only down by I think 10 points maybe at one point. Anyway, they showed a lot of resilience, a lot of fight. They still have the good offensive weapons. I think they're pretty good on they need some work on defense. I would like to see Travis Hunter back next week, but I don't think he'll be back. I want to say he's out for maybe 1 or 2 more games. I'd have to double check that. I'll give him a call once we get off here. I like Colorado on that offense in this game.
Are you just calling the random guy named Travis?
No, I got Travis Hunter's number.
Oh, okay.
Don't be jealous. Doesn't look good on
I'm
you.
jealous all
keep
the
in
time.
Keep in mind, it wasn't only Hunter out. Shiloh Sanders was also out, the safety and leading tackler on the team, so missing 2 big defensive plays. Shiloh should be back. I'm not sure about Travis myself.
I remember, because I saw Shiloh on the sideline and he had like 50 chains on and stuff. I was like, good. It must be nice to be able to do that in college. But
exactly. Herb, who do you have?
Colorado big in this one. I think if you're Colorado, you realize how tough the Pac-12 is, how you're getting into conference play. If you still want to make a bowl, you have to take care of business against these terrible teams. And Arizona State they won their first game against Southern Utah, has lost every other game. If you're Colorado, you got to take advantage of opportunities like this. So I think Colorado rolls.
All right, both competitors going with Colorado there. We're going to travel back to the middle of the country. Notre Dame traveling into Louisville. Notre Dame's had a rough couple of weeks. Won 1 game, lost 1 game, but they're very close at the end. Very tough game against Duke this past week, which I think was a little tougher than most of us expected. We figured it'd be kind of close, but a little bit closer. Traveling into Louisville, and Notre Dame is favored by 7 points. Herb, you have why?
It's interesting to me that the line is this big. Notre Dame has shown a lot of heart. I thought their offense would be better with Hartman, but it's like they're basically just hanging on every week. Even against Duke, it took, a miracle quarterback run of 4th and 16 just to give them a shot in that. Like, how often do you see something like that from a guy not known as a as a runner? But Louisville, I feel like offense is not going to be that great. Saw what they did with NC State. So I'm going to take Notre Dame on the road. I've picked Notre Dame twice now, so there's probably going to lose my soul or something like that. But I'm going to take Notre Dame. And if they lose, I won't be that upset.
All right. Raj, who do you have?
I got to take Notre Dame too. I like what I've seen out of Hartman this year.
No, you don't. You don't even watch Notre Dame games.
I watched a few of them. I watched some of the Ohio State game, and I watched some of the game. Yet I've never watched a complete in my life. I've never watched a complete. Oh, actually, I have.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
When we beat him in the championship game, when we beat him in the championship game and the playoff game, I have watched those games. Never mind.
Yes,
I take that back.
But fun fact, Mike. Raj and I have talked about we have never talked about any of the championship game losses, right? We've talked about plenty of the wins. The one game that neither of us can remember many plays from is Alabama Notre Dame. Like, we can remember and we talk about all the other games, but Alabama Notre Dame just seems so easy that I guess it was
42-14. Like,
there is like no recollection of any great plays in any of that. So it's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the same way, to be completely honest. Most of the Alabama games, even championship games, I'm either watching at a friend's house, like we normally do, or at my house. I actually watched that game at a sports bar. So once it started getting out of hand, we started focusing more on the bar aspect than the sports aspect. So, I don't really remember a ton of it. I just know we won. And
it wasn't close.
It was just a good game for us.
Yeah.
So
we're both taking Notre Dame.
Everybody's picking Notre Dame there to beat Louisville. Traveling next to Ole Miss, who's coming off a big win against LSU, staying at home and facing Arkansas. Ole Miss is currently favored by 10.5. And Rod, you're up first. Are you having one?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big spread, but I wonder if it's based on how bad Arkansas's offense looked yesterday. They were turnover prone. KJ didn't really perform that well. With that being said, and seeing that Ole Miss put up 55 yesterday, I think they're going to be able to put up at least 40 against Arkansas, and I got Arkansas winning this game. It's just, like I said, it's interesting because we beat Ole Miss 24-10, and they just dropped 55 on LSU. But I guess it's just another crazy week in the SEC. Anyway, with that being said, I got Ole Miss covering in this game.
Okay, because you said Arkansas a second ago winning the game. I just want.
My bad. No. I got Ole Miss. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, Ole Miss. No, you're good. I was going to clarify because I thought you were leaning Ole Miss by the way you were saying it. But I just wanted to make sure I heard it right. All right, Herb, do you agree?
Yeah, definitely not a lean. I think Ole Miss rolls in this one. It's like Raj said. I think Arkansas will put up more points. Clearly Ole Miss defense isn't isn't great, but Ole Miss rolling at home. They put the Alabama loss behind them. Lane seemed more like Lane, against LSU than he did against Alabama.
He did. And Lane was really excited after the game or during the post-game speech and stuff. You could tell he was elated that they won. That was a huge win for them. I mean, and they did storm the field yesterday too, so that was a huge win for Ole Miss. And I think if Ole Miss had lost yesterday to LSU, Lane Kiffin would have been like, what are we supposed to be doing here? Is this as good as Ole Miss is going to be? We're always going to be in the middle of the SEC West, because I'm pretty sure he wants to get into a conference championship game at least before he leaves there to go on to do whatever he's going to do next.
Honestly, he's only lost one conference game, and he's played like what his two toughest people. You get by Arkansas, and I guess you still got Texas A&M lurking out there, but you only have one conference loss. He'll pretty much be an anti-Alabama fan, but Alabama's got like 3 still really tough conference games. I mean,
if Ole Miss wins out, I mean they could sneak on in there.
They definitely could.
Yeah.
So
they play A&M and Georgia later on in the season. So they've got 2 more.
Oh, I forgot about the Georgia game. Yeah, it was nice knowing you.
Never mind.
Yeah. It was
there
good.
Goes that.
Nice knowing you. I forgot that they have to travel to Georgia, so they're one of the few teams.
I pulled a Raj and looked it up. So
yeah, well, I mean, and they were talking about this before the season started. Who had like the toughest schedules? I think Florida and Ole Miss were definitely the top 2, and Ole Miss is like the only team in the country has to travel to Alabama and to Georgia this year. So yeah, sorry, Ole Miss.
I'm pretty sure Lane like that.
Yeah.
All right, so 2 picks for Ole Miss. Traveling next to the state of Texas, Texas Tech going into Baylor. Again, not a real big marquee game. Texas Tech only favored by 1 point, which is why we're looking at this game. It's such a good line. Herb, you are first. Who do you have and why?
I'm sorry, somebody's yelling in the background. You have to repeat. Which game are we picking again?
Texas Tech and Baylor.
Ugh.
Texas Tech is favored by 1. That was kind of the point. It's not a real sexy matchup.
Yeah. No, it's not even just that, Mike, but it's like
you just don't expect.
I mean, Baylor is living by the seat of their pants. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Texas Tech purely because they're at home. Baylor is just, I mean, you see the games that they're winning, they're still having to do everything they can to come from behind just to win. It's not pretty by any means. If Texas Tech can get up, if they can get up a couple of touchdowns, they're probably screwed. Texas Tech might want to fall behind early in this one. But I'm going to take Texas Tech purely because they're at home.
The game's in Baylor, though. It's in Waco.
Wait, is that Baylor?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Baylor.
And Texas Tech is favored by 1?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, scratch my whole reasoning. I'm taking Baylor at home.
Okay. Shoot. That
was going to be were you going to do it? Were you going to go?
I was going to do it because I was picking Baylor. I'm picking Baylor at home simply because of what Herb just stated. We don't really have a lot of statistical numbers to go off on this one. But in years past, both teams were, looked pretty good earlier on in the season. One more they lost, but they're both 2 and 3. Seasons are pretty much gone for both of them. So I'll just take
Fighting for bowl relevance. Yeah.
Fighting for bowl relevance.
I think this is probably the matchup of 2 teams in the Big Ten that we expected more out of at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Baylor was like a dark horse pick for the Big 12.
Yeah, they just won the Big 12, was it 2 years ago, I believe?
Yeah. Like 2 years ago, yeah. So, both underperforming. Both we thought were going to be really good, haven't really done what we thought, but they get to play each other to see who does even worse than what we thought. Moving on back to the SEC, undefeated Kentucky travels into Georgia to play the number 1 team, which I saw, I think the AP poll was still the number 1 team in the country, even though I don't know they deserve it. UGA is currently favored by 15 points. Herb, you're up first. Who do you have in why?
I totally think they deserve it just because of where they started the year. Yeah. And I hate when they kind of downgrade you just for wins. They're still winning their games. Georgia wins this one handily for sure at home. It'll be like every game. Will they cover? Probably not. Will it be a slog at times? Yeah. But will they go to Brock Bowers to try to get him the Heisman at the end? Yeah. That's how they'll win. So
I don't think I got Georgia at home winning this one too. I don't think people understand how difficult it is going on the road and playing these SEC games are too, regardless of another team's record. Just going on the road into another team's stadium in that conference, it can be pretty difficult. I mean, we can all see how bad Alabama's played on the road in the past few years, and Georgia went into a tough atmosphere, played a nice gritty game, didn't perform too well in the first half, but they came out in the second half and they bounced back.
Yep.
Those are all good points.
You're not even using the whole thing. Like, what the heck?
I didn't want to.
The other thing about this Georgia thing is they're finally seeing what it take. What happens when you keep losing so many first rounders to the NFL every year, and B, what happens when you're on top and you start getting everyone's best shot. I think it's a combination of those two things that's really slowing them down.
Yeah, and kind of to your point, Kentucky's 5-0 as well. They've played, those same not really the same, played a lot of those same SEC teams. Tough sledding ahead. So I think it'll be a good game. Kind of the same way you guys are. I think Georgia will probably pull it out, but I don't think they cover. I think it'll be closer than the 15-point line. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yep.
Last up, the game that everybody probably knows that is going to get picked as the biggest game of the weekend, the Red River rivalry, Oklahoma and Texas. Texas is currently favored by 5. Raj, who do you have and why?
Yeah, this is a good game. Good game. Obviously, last year Texas beat Oklahoma 49-0, I believe. It wasn't even close. I think Texas is obviously looking really, really good this year. They somehow magically beat us, but we don't need to talk about that anymore.
Magically?
I think Texas is currently still ranked 3. I'm going to go with Texas in this one. I think they have the better quarterback play, and their defense is looking pretty well. And I think Ewers and Worthy are going to continue to make a nice little connection there. So with that being said, I'm going to go with Texas.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I want to pick Texas here, which means my whole week comes down to Nebraska winning.
I don't think I wasn't going to make that
which
point.
Might be the saddest thing that I've ever had to say. But yeah, Texas is playing too well. The offensive defensive lines are stout. I think Sark has them humming. They dominated Kansas, which people thought would be a good, a tough one. I'm really I'm probably not gonna, like, we're talking about this on Sunday. We're not gonna release this until after our podcast, so neither one of our guests get mad because we're previewing the Red River rivalry. Yeah. Or by the time you're watching this, we have previewed the Red River rivalry. So, but yeah, I think Texas is good. Now I hope this is a good game. I definitely will be. But
I wanted to be competitive.
Texas wins this one.
Yep.
All right, there you have it. Texas. Both competitors picked Texas, and as Herb kind of alluded to, there's only one game that is different this week. So in order for Herb to pick a game up, you've got to rely on that Nebraska-Illinois, who I will remind you said that you will not watch 1 second of. Does this change the fact that you will not watch it now that you know that this is your chance to gain another game? Will you watch it?
Illinois is going to win.
There's a 7:30. That's a 7:00 game right on Friday. K-State and Oklahoma State play at 6:30. So I may, at the corner of my eye, catch the end of this game. But if by the fourth quarter Illinois is up by 20, I won't. I will be texting in the group chat about how the fix is in. I will be blaming everyone but myself. I will, yes, there will be a lot of whining and complaining going on.
I look forward to that.
Yep.
Hopefully that won't happen. Whether you win or lose, hopefully you'll man up and not cry about it. And we'll all
promise that's not going to happen. there will be no manning up here. Sorry, Mike.
And we also have Bama versus the World coming this week, so we'll save Bama and Texas A&M for Bama versus the World, where we get expert analysis from a Bama fan and a Texas A&M fan. So that we'll look forward to that. Some coming up sometime this week as well. As always, I am your host, Big Mike, for Herb and Raj and the Ragsdale Rumble. Thank you very much and have a great day. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.